Listen to the greenhouse before I get mad.
All right, go good.
Guys. Welcome back to another rendition of At the Buzzer. I am your host, Andre Guerrier, as you can see. Today, I got somebody who's looking for revenge. You guys know him very, very well. We call him Nasty Nate. We got Nate in the building.
What it do? First and foremost, this is like a Connect Four, Celebrity Squares type joint with the camera. That's all I
Nate,
gotta say.
You buttering me up too early, bro. It's too early. And then we have AJ, not the light skinned one, but the but the brown one.
AJ number 2.
AJ number 2, 2.0. So this week we're actually gonna do a little. Excuse me, guys. We're gonna do a little bit of a different kind of competition this week. We have two guys who really think they could outdo each other here. They both are, sports related, and their backgrounds and their knowledge of sports is very high. So let's see who could take the house this week. Let's see who can do it. First, I do want to go over the rules for any new listeners. First rule: we always like to respect people's privacy in their own home or personal lives. So we do not like for people to bash anyone. Even if you do have a comment to say, let's try to keep it positive, and negativity is not our thing. And then for our contestants, I'm going to break down the rules for you guys again. So there is no interruptions, or there is no talking over each other. So if you do interrupt someone or you do speak over someone, you'll get a warning. I'll let my coach know. Hey, watch me. You got one more time to shoot that shot. Did you practice that shot? Okay.
Some may argue they didn't.
And then second rule, of course, which is the most important rule for the show, is no corny jokes. No corny jokes. No bad rebuttals. You do get a minute and a half to get your rebuttal out if you do hear the opposite contestant say something, or you have something that you just want to speak on. You do get some extra time for that. But like I said, let's be mindful of each other's speaking time and respect each other's speaking time as well. So you guys are ready. Let's jump into the tip-off.
Do it.
All right. So let's start with Nate. This NFL season has been kind of up and down. Been kind of sideways here and there. We had some exciting moments, and then we had some very boring weeks during the season. So my first question for you guys, with Nate answering first, where do we see Aaron Rodgers' legacy start to change a little bit going into his later years?
I mean, it all depends, to be honest with you. I would say it depends on what he does this year. First and foremost, I think they're kind of in a great position to really make a run here in the Super Bowl. I think they are one of the hotter teams in the NFC. I mean, he's completing, a high percentage of his passes. We know that, Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers. I mean, he's accurate down the field. He plays. One thing that we did question about Green Bay in general was that their lack of weapons around him. So if they emphasize a focus on, creating more weapons around him, then I think he's still an elite player, right? He's still a top 5 quarterback. I would consider him, just like we consider Tom Brady. Now, we don't far shy away from holding him accountable for the losses, right? So with somebody being that great, the only thing you can measure him to is a championship. So he has one to show for it. So in order for me to, consider him the GOAT or continue to be in that cachet, he has to become more consistent in the playoffs and stay healthy. So.
Yeah. I mean, I think his career can only really go up from here. I mean, he was the first quarterback to throw 340 touchdown passes in a season. So that's impressive. To the point, he does only have one championship and he has a lot of playoff losses. So definitely this playoff run is definitely really important to how it progresses, I would say. But I mean, they drafted a quarterback with a first round pick, and he's the first quarterback since I think Jake Locker to like not play at all since the first round in their first season. So he really has no competition. So he's probably going to be back there, you know, just accumulating stats. So I definitely see it going up.
For me, just to jump in real quick, for me, I think his legacy can actually take a hit. I mean, even if he does win the MVP this year, his numbers are always amazing. But now you're starting, and I love my guy Eli to death. You know, he knows it. But now you're starting to get into that kind of realm for me. It's like, all right, you can do some things, but when do you show up? You show up when you need to, or you show up when you want to. You know, for me, Aaron Rodgers has always been a guy where I feel like he shows up when he wants to. He's there when you need him, but he shows up when he wants to. We called him Mr. Hail Mary for 2 years in a row. Like this guy, if he wants to get that ball in the end zone, he'll do it. He'll find a way to do it. But for me, I feel like his legacy can take a hit. But on the opposite hand, it can also take a rise, as you guys said as well, and kind of catapult him into the conversation of the Joe Montanas, Tom Brady's, and of like the definite goats of this quarterback thing.
Yeah, I'll jump in here to even kind of piggyback a little more on that. I would say it doesn't even have to be with Green Bay, right? We have this fixation or I guess maybe relative fantasy that he's going to finish his career in Green Bay, right? So I think there's opportunity for him to have a second half of his career in a different uniforms. That we see some of the great ones go off and do it. Peyton Manning, when he went to the Broncos, had similar success those couple of years in a Super Bowl run, which that second Super Bowl more or less allowed him to jump up that catapult in the cachet of the Hall of Fame status, right? That's what we can measure him on. You look at guys like Tom Brady, right? Switching teams. If we're gonna argue the same premise, just kind of him switching teams and him trying to go through the process now. So I think Aaron Rodgers, one team I would say probably would fit him would be the 49ers. I know that they're trying to flirt with leaving Jimmy G. So if he gets paired with a team like that, guys, Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, pair that up with him, and along with their plethora of running backs in the Kyle Shanahan offense. I mean, that guy could have 2 or 3 rings under his belt, and we'll look at him completely different. So, something to keep your eye.
Can I give a rebuttal to what Andre said? Because I'm an Eli Manning fan too, but at 37, he wasn't throwing 48 touchdowns and 5 picks. So I'll see that, but I definitely.
Hey, don't lose any points, man. Coach, keep an eye on him, Coach. Now, but go ahead. You can get your rebuttal.
Oh no, that was it. I just Eli definitely don't look like Aaron Rodgers,
Hey, I feel like you just wanted to point out facts, man. Like that stung a little bit. That stung a little. Yeah, but for one more comment, Nate did bring up a good point. You do see some quarterbacks change like a change of environment. They say is always good for you. So maybe him leaving Green Bay and getting into a little bit of that sunny weather. I believe he is a California kid as well. Yeah, so to go back home, that might just be a match made in heaven. But as far as a team matchup that I would see, I do. Now I'm gonna take it to your hometown, Nate. And I'm gonna go back to see what Washington would do. I think he would fare out with Washington pretty well. You have Ron Rivera, who's an offensive genius. You got a solid young defense. And then you throw a quarterback in there, a Super Bowl champion, I think you got something there.
That'd be interesting for sure.
Definitely would be. So going into the next topic, I do want to speak about the NFL one more time. Who do you guys think gets Rookie of the Year? AJ, we're going to start with you.
I feel like I'm going to take Nate's answer because, he's the Colts guy, but I feel like it definitely goes to Jonathan Taylor. Being third in the NFL in rushing yards, they went to the playoffs, although, they lost, but they covered the spread. So that's always a good
watch
thing.
Him, buddy. Gotta watch. Hey, we gotta watch him.
Hey, Coach.
But yeah, nah, it would definitely be him. I mean, I feel like Marlon Mack, he went down earlier in the season, so then he got a lot more reps, and I mean, he really showed that, you know, he's really an elite running back, so he would be my pick.
Yeah, I would. I guess that would be the top choice in my estimation. But I would have to go a little different, right? I mean, if I'm thinking about offensive or at least rookie of the year, especially particularly on the offensive side of the ball, I always got to go with the quarterback, unfortunately. And Justin Herbert, he played unbelievable in the situation that he's in. Obviously, his coach is being pretty much incompetent, and I don't like to say that to a lot about Black coaches because we need more of them in the league. But Anthony Lynn didn't do anything to help Justin Herbert nor help himself. So unfortunately, his time has to go. But yeah, Justin Herbert, he's playing lights out. I mean, he kept that team in a lot of ball games when, you know, more or less they should not have been in any other ball games. Him and Keenan Allen look unbelievable, throwing for basically over 4,000 passing yards, I believe, more or less, or at least 3,000 passing yards. I mean, that's impressive for a young guy, and he just looks ready. I mean, some would argue, you're talking about the Giants, he might have been ducking work coming back and playing SoCal, baby. So playing LA in that Sunshine State, we're talking about that. So yeah, that's my pick.
Hey, coach, do me a favor. Sit his ass down. Sit his ass. All right.
Nobody thought Chase Young?
Hey. I was just getting ready to say, Chase Young has been a beast this year. He's been manhandling these 350-pound offensive linemen like it's nothing. These double teams coming at him, it feels like I feel like we're seeing a mix of Jadeveon Clowney and J.J. Watt. Like you see the speed and the power, but you also see the finesse and then the awareness to be on the field of where the running back's going to go. He's going A gap, he's going B gap. Can he shoot outside? I'm shading and am I stand straight up on a guy? Like those are some of the things that usually as far as the defensive end or defensive guys, you see them start to pick that up maybe in their second, third year to where they start reacting a little quicker. Mm-hmm. But I feel like Chase Young is he's just a different guy. Like
we knew that though. We knew that.
Yeah, but when you see somebody that can actually translate that talent into the league and then get better, it's kind of a shocker because going into the season, we had 2 weeks of training camp, 3 weeks of training camp, and it's like, all right, guys, go knock each other's heads off and hope to win the Super Bowl. So for him to come out of college and playing with these guys and building a relationship with those guys, and then going to Washington and becoming a captain later or halfway into the season, and then you see his game progress like nobody else. I would take him as rookie of the year. I do see Justin Herbert. I can't see that. The only thing with that, I feel like he just needed a little bit more of a brand name. We all know how voting gets in these professional leagues. If you don't have a name or you can't put a name to the face, nobody really cares. But when you can stand out like vocally and somebody can see you and you stand out visually, that's when people start to pick up and say, oh, that guy, we like that guy right there. Because, via Lamar Jackson, like this last year, we had the same thing. We didn't know who was going to get, his rookie year. And we all knew that he had that talent, but hey, he came short of MVP, but took rookie of the year. So that's my take on that. Anybody have any comments or any rebuttals on that?
Just the only thing. So if Joe Burrow didn't get hurt, is he the rookie of the year then?
Ooh.
I can't say he is. I can't say he is.
I get it.
I think he had the brand name.
He did have the brand name.
Losing ass team.
That's the thing. He didn't change their culture. He hasn't changed, even if it's offensively. He didn't change anything for them offensively as far as culture. When you think about, yeah, that's it. Just getting the ball into the end zone, which you would hope any quarterback on your team can do, especially somebody that you pick up in the first round. That's the hope. But when you look at Chase Young, or you look at somebody like a Marlon Mack, you know they can change the culture of your team offensively or defensively by themselves. People start to play harder. Your teammates trust you more. Your coaches trust your defense or your offense out there more. So now on fourth down, you'll have an instance where Coach Harbaugh can look at Lamar Jackson and say, "You want to go for it on fourth down?" Even asking one of your guys is like saying, "I trust you. Do you trust you? Do you want to go take a shot for it?" So guys like Chase Young, it's tough to say that they're not like the rookie of the year or that special breed of athlete, because we all know once you get that little spotlight on you and you got that talent, you're taking off. You're taking off. Hey, coach, do me a favor. Sub him back in. Yeah. Him right there. Yeah. Hey, there we go.
Whoa. There we go. We back out the doghouse.
Yeah. Hey, Nate, can I ask you a question?
Yo.
Do you practice that shot?
Sometimes. No.
Have you ever
I got
shot that
back
shot?
in the gym.
Hey, shout out to Patrick Ewing. Now we're gonna jump into the last question of the tip-off segment. I want to kind of switch it up and talk about something that hasn't really been in any of the sports spotlights recently, which is golf, and specifically Tiger Woods. Now, this guy has come back from adversity like we've never seen from any athlete. I mean, you could think about Big Ben, you could think about Ray Lewis, you could think about Pete Rose, even Babe Ruth. These guys have had stuff going on, but when you think about Tiger Woods, he's battled injuries, he's had stuff in his personal life, and somehow, some way, this guy doesn't stop. He fights and fights and fights and fights, and now we see him kind of getting back into that Tiger Woods form. He's overcome those knee injuries and back surgeries, which I think was a crazy double-digit number, which is insane for anybody to have that amount of surgeries and still continue to play a professional sport. So my question to you guys is, with all the things that he had to go through, where do we place him as one of those sports figures where we can look to him and say, that's the guy who changed the game. He's been through it, but we all know that's the guy that's going to be the champion. That's our Michael Jordan of the sport, or that's our Arthur Ashe of this sport. Where and when can we see that change really start to happen for him? We're going to start off with AJ.
Okay. I mean, I would put him underneath guys like LeBron and everything, because to your point of everything personally he went through that was public at the time, and I would feel he's definitely made a comeback. And as to your point, for Black people, he's definitely the MJ. He definitely got us into the sport. We would watch it because of him, and what he did was really important. But I would think he would have to be a little bit more removed from golf and maybe like on TV more and stuff like that, just as like a personality, somebody who's just speaking about things and talking about how the things he went through before everybody's like, okay, like, because I think he's already solidified as like a golf person, but I think it's more of like a well-known to everybody, like younger kids, like, okay, yeah, that dude is really the dude. I think he just needs a little time removed from golf for sure.
So you think he needs to be a little bit more relatable?
Yeah, definitely. Like he needs to be training the next, Black golfer that's like 11 and be on, talking about his experiences. Like, I cheated, like, that was me or whatever. And I don't know, just more on TV so we can see him more.
Okay. And Nate?
Yeah, I mean, I think he doesn't, I guess in my mind, or I guess maybe generationally speaking, I mean, he's already, to AJ's point, solidified his stature and demeanor, right? I mean, when you think about golf, more or less, you think about Tiger Woods instantly, no matter, whom it is, right? It's just that was transcending. Like when you think about tennis, for example, more times than not, you think of Serena and Venus Williams. Like those people are transcending. When you think about basketball, you think about LeBron, you think about MJ, you think about those are transcending people. So I think that's that part he doesn't really have to go, or like there's no like win because he's already there at that point. It's incredible what he's able to overcome and still do at his age, playing the game of golf, because I'm still learning how to play. I mean, it's inspiring because he does look like us. So to see that somebody looks like us getting involved, thus trickles down. I think the only time we would truly see the impact is when we see more people that look like us actually qualify for PGA tours and stuff like that. We've seen the effect trickle down in tennis, where the young Japanese American who's Black mixed, Naomi, she is doing her thing. It's another Black young girl, I'm forgetting her name, excuse me, but she Coco, she also doing her thing in tennis. So that's where you can see that it has already translated, right? Transcending down. So that has to be more a thing in golf, and I hopefully it becomes more a thing, but it has to be one thing, it has to be prioritized into our community, and he has to be more of a holistic figure, at least in our everyday lives, than more of a like a kind of a godfather figure. I think that's what he more like comes off as, a godfather behind the scenes, which is tough for athletes, at least in today's day, social media era. So
yeah, I always looked at Tiger Woods as one of those guys where like he's untouchable. But when I seen his hairline, I said, he's a regular dude. This is a regular dude. He's just very, very talented at golf.
Right.
Hey, coach, I don't know if that was a bad joke or not, but hey, I'm not ready to sit down yet.
It's okay. It's okay. I don't have a substitute host on the bench.
Oh, okay.
Hey, you practice that shot?
All right, good. All right, guys, we're clear. We're clear. But that's gonna be our first segment. Tip off is completed. With that being said, I gotta give that round to my guy Nate. Nate. You kind of surprised me there. He surprised me there. You had some very strong, serious points. AJ did come off a little comedic. He almost had you. Not gonna lie, he almost had you. But a couple of your rebuttals did bring my attention to some points that you made. So I did have to give that round to you. Then we're gonna jump into the next round, which is gonna be Gatorade or water. Which one would you prefer? Which is our buy or sell segment, Gatorade or water. No, we do not drink blue Gatorades. All right. So with Nate going first, Gatorade or water? And this is gonna be very simple. Lamar Jackson or Michael Vick? Which one is Gatorade? Which one is water?
All right. I'm gonna have to go for Gatorade. Definitely have to go Lamar Jackson. Reason he's Gatorade is because like Gatorade, when I think about it, it's kind of like that energy boost, that electrolyte feeling. So he's exciting. Just go back to the days in college. Mike Vick, he's the guy that I know I'm gonna get. So he's water. So he's always consistent. He's a good healthy blend, and somebody I know that if he had not fought dogs, would have been on his way to arguably getting a championship. To be honest with you, so wow. Hopefully I didn't mess that up for a second here, but I'm back. Technical difficulties, but yeah, dog. So yeah, I think Mike Vick is like more of a water. And he's more like I said, a championship bound guy that I'll win with. So that's me.
All right, Mike Vick is definitely Gatorade. First of all, because he started off fire, and then they had to revamp the formula a little, with the dogfighting. And then, on the Eagles, I think he was probably one of the best quarterbacks I've ever seen play, just in terms of like he could throw the ball all the way down the field, he could move in the pocket, like he had. I mean, just the coaching and everything. I think at that point in time, it was amazing to watch, and I've never seen Lamar truly be as accurate as him or can throw as far as him. So I would say he's my Gatorade, and Lamar would be water.
Okay.
Let me get that. Let me get that rebuttal real quick for a second. I got
jump in there, Nate. Jump in
I'm
there.
just wondering because like I'm trying to figure out like at some what point because Lamar Jackson has practically broken every record that Mike Vick currently has held, and he's probably playing a couple years less than him. He's not taking first or second in an era where we'll give credit where credit is due. Mike Vick did allow Lamar Jackson of the world, right? He did send it, but I think he's like electrified. This guy doesn't get touched. They don't have any weapons for them out there in Baltimore. Like if they can go ahead and get him a receiver, I mean, that would help a lot. I mean, when you're one guy and your go-to target is Mark Andrews, I mean, you're not getting the job done. And your predecessor, your coworker over there, Pat Mahomes has Travis Kelce, Sammy Watkins, Nico. Like you have weapons all over the place. You know what I mean? So I think that if you give him more weapons, he can show you he's just electric and is as accurate as Mike Vick all day.
Well, can I give a rebuttal to that? Because
Sure.
I think a guy like Lamar, his best receiver will always be his tight end. So like I think because he's not as accurate deep downfield, you give him a better tight end or more slot receivers, like quicker routes. I think that's more of his route. And I'm not saying he can't throw the football. Obviously, he's an NFL quarterback. But I just think if we're talking about quarterbacks, Mike Vick is definitely Gatorade. Come on.
Stop. I see. That's what I'm saying. That's regular. I'm saying, I'm saying, we acting like I get it. I mean, I love Mike Vick, the next person. He's one of my favorite players going on. But we acting like Mike Vick is out here throwing dimes all the time. Like there's been a times where this dude has been inaccurate just like the rest of them. Lamar Jackson damn near is like 22, 23, 24 years old. So he's just blossoming into what he's becoming. I think if you give him an opportunity to get a good receiver, let him play with Deshaun Jackson, right? Mike Vick came back to play with Deshaun Jackson. Let him play with the Michael Jenkins, if you remember that. Let's let him play with some guy like that. I think he has a chance. I think he has a chance to make numbers. I think he can do some things. Mark Andrews is not comparable to any weapon that Mike Vick has played with. You can't even debate me on that. And Hollywood Brown, I love him to death, and that's the next person, but hey, he's not any of those cachet of what Mike Vick's played with. So keep that in mind.
That was actually a good one. Hey, coach, they back here fighting in practice, man. Hey, hey, just let me jump in there really, really quick. Nate, you're funny. Hey, you are hilarious. But AJ did have a very, very good point, though. Michael Vick did kind of give you that. He gave you that Magic Johnson Showtime appeal to the professional game. Well, he wasn't scared to go, throw the ball or do and try different things. So when I see Lamar Jackson doing these things, it shocks me or it surprises me. But in the back of my head, I'm like, oh yeah, Michael Vick would have did it that way. Oh yeah, yeah, that looked like Michael Vick right there. So I think the only thing for me is that we kind of seen that we've seen the blueprint of it already, of that kind of quarterback. But the thing with a blueprint is you take it, you tweak it a little bit, and you make it better, right? So that's what we see in Lamar Jackson. So as far as Gatorade or water, I'm saying Joe Namath. No, I'm just kidding. I gotta go Michael Vick. This man had his own shoe.
All right.
His own shoe.
Facts.
Hey, they changed that rule up for him. Remember they had the AI rule in the NBA? No more headbands, no more jewelry and tattoos and all this stuff. Michael Vick used to pull up to the game with the thick the white headbands and the cornrows, the 5X's, dope boy shirts on, with the Nikes and the baggy jeans, looking like he straight out of Hampton. But as far as that, I got to take Michael Vick on that one. So let's jump into the next question I have for you guys for Gatorade or water. Do we really believe that the Nets can make a championship run or create a dynasty with just Kyrie Irving and KD as the two primary ball handlers, scorers, And then you also have KD maybe being your second or third best defensive player on the team. Is a Gatorade or water that we can see them create a dynasty?
Me first or Nate? I'll say water because both of them haven't won anything without another top 5 player in the NBA. Kyrie is probably the second best point guard in the NBA. KD is probably the second best player in the NBA. But in terms of both of their availabilities at times, both of their like actual chemistry, I think they definitely won't be able to build on that. So I think post whatever, I think their contracts, they have 3 more years left, including this year. I don't see doing anything too crazy. I mean, we'll see how this year goes, but I can honestly see them trading for James Harden and like getting rid of Kyrie. So I go water on that.
I mean, yeah. I mean, if we realistically, I would say water too. I mean, once again, I would say the outlier would have to be Kyrie Irving, so to speak. I mean, I already know what I'm going to get from KD all the time. We talk about availability. I mean, he's only been hurt maybe a handful of times of that in his career. So we acting like this dude is out all the time. He had a foot injury. He just tore his Achilles, and that was really it of the magnitude of his injuries that he's been. But other than that, he's been around. You know, he's a 7-footer. So like I said, I'm here for what he has. He looks healthy enough, so he's good. I mean, second best player in the NBA. Okay, you can build around that simply. If they want him, now it's Kyrie Irving. You know, we've seen him now. He's not around with the team right now at the moment. You know, for personal reasons. So hopefully everything is good with him. But we've seen this in Boston too. He hasn't just been around. So we'll see. I think also it's about those pieces of complementary pieces. I like Karis LeVert, but I mean he's okay. I mean Jared Allen and you know DeAndre Jordan. I mean they're okay guys, but I mean are they championship type caliber type players? I think they need to get more type of guys like that around, and then we'll see. But you know the East has gotten a lot better, at least in the top half. So with all things included, I think at most they'll probably win 2 championships, 1 at the most, and then we'll have to see from there.
Well, just one more rebuttal to it. I think the reason I was going water is because when I say that they both haven't won anything without anybody else, I would say KD needed a 73-win team, and I would say Kyrie needed LeBron. And I don't know if they both can, all right, now you two are the most reliable. We need you two no matter what. I don't think that works out. So I don't think they win 1, honestly.
How do you know that? How do you know what's called needed Braun though? I'm just saying Braun came back. It was inevitable that Kyrie Irving came. I mean that Braun came back to Kyrie Irving. So you acting like that to say that he needed him, it's okay. I mean, it makes sense that he came back, so it propelled what he needed to. But at the end of the day, Kyrie Irving did hit the shot that got him a championship, right? Let's not forget that. Without Kyrie Irving taking that last shot, I mean, who knows what happens? And let's not forget, like, yes, he joined the 73-win team, if that's the indictment on Kevin Durant. But Kevin Durant won 2 Finals MVP and was the clear-cut best player on all those teams. So you cannot tell me that if you build the team correctly, which they did have out there in Golden State, which I'm a firm believer they can do out there in Brooklyn, that they will find success. It's all about Kyrie Irving because he is the guy that if he's hitting on all cylinders, especially late in games, I want him as my point guard in the 4th quarter of ball games, no matter what it is. I don't care what he's doing outside of come in the 4th quarter, but if he's on that fuck shit and he's not here to play and ready to play, then I don't want him on my team. Then I'd much rather give myself a James Harden and let's go run. So to your point, if he's become a distraction, go ahead and flip him. Go ahead and flip him immediately. But if he's ready to play and ready to win a championship, like in Cleveland, like he was, let's get it, baby.
All right, let me jump in there really quick. The last bar you just spit, with Kyrie and his distractions. You do know, James Harden is a strip club fiend, right? this
but
guy,
still available though.
He get buckets though.
You can get buckets and stay home. You get buckets to stay home, bro. But I do see both of your points. Both of your points are very, very valid. It's kind of up in the air with either of these guys because if KD can stay healthy, we know what he can do. If Kyrie can stay healthy and lock in mentally, then we all know what he can do. But to AJ's point, does he have a leader like LeBron who he can feed off of as far as energy? And LeBron doesn't always have to say to Kyrie, all right, let's lock in. let's turn it up a notch. He can just look at LeBron, or LeBron could look at Kyrie, and while they were playing, you could just tell like they could look at each other and say, "All right, it's time to go." KD has always been one of those guys where he's like, "All right, I don't have to take the last shot. Like, I don't care about the last shot. I'd rather pass you the ball." I don't think Kyrie, at this point in his career, needs one of those guys with him. He needs someone that's going to be like, "All right, take over the game. Let's do it." He doesn't need a guy to say, "You can pass it to me. I'll shoot. I don't care." That's kind of a credit to KD's greatness at the same time. Because when you compare two guys like that, and then you have DeAndre Jordan, you have Jared Allen, Karis LeVert, Joe Harris is back as well, if I'm correct. So it's kind of scary out there. So going into the last question I have for you guys for Gatorade or water, it's kind of might mess you guys up a little bit in the head. We like to have fun. So let me throw this in there. Gatorade or water? Which one are you taking? If Roy Jones decided to fight Holyfield, which one are you taking? Not Mike Tyson. We seen what that turned out to be. A lot of ducking and dodging. But if we can get two guys who go in there past their primes, as we can all see, which one do you take? Gatorade or water for Roy Jones, being that we saw him get back in action, or Gatorade and water for Evander Holyfield, who's trained Roy Jones to prepare him for that fight he had against Tyson? I'll start off with Nate.
Well, what's Evander Holyfield's age? How old is he? Like,
Dirt.
Let's say if he's in like his,
50.
I'm about to say if he's in his 50s or he's in his late 50s, I would say like I'm gonna take Roy Jones all day. I think, to be honest, I think that was an anomaly that we saw in that pay-per-view. I think Mike Tyson is just a different animal. You could see Roy Jones was gasping for air like a fish out of water, more or less, going through the rounds. And I give him kudos credit that he was actually doing his thing and holding his own. But I would say that nobody sub 50 is going to do that, especially with training. And kudos to Evander for training him. I mean, that's exciting. Whoever's Nate Robinson's trainer, then you ought to get fired and not do the profession anymore. but long story short, I think that if those two competed, I would take Roy Jones just because, like I said, I mean, from what I can actually see, and I think if Evander's what I suspect is he's going to be in the sub 50s, no way he can be on that Mike Tyson type diet and type training regimen and do the same things he did. So
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't really take any of them. I mean, I'm here for the undercards of this fight. Like, I feel like you can get the Pauls fighting each other. You can get like celebrities in there. Like, I like this whole thing. Like, the old fighters could be the main event, but that's not really. I mean, you saw like Mike Tyson anomaly. Like, he's in shape. Like, we're like, all right, like, why are they even fighting? I don't know if I want to see two old people really fight. You know what I mean? No matter how technically skilled they are. But I think if you get me a Nate Robinson rematch, I'm tuned in 100%.
AJ said bring some vitamin water over here.
I mean, he is rematch ASAP. Like, he got his rematch clause. Like, he was invoked yesterday.
Yeah, the rematch clause should have said, "See me in the back room. See me outside. Let me talk to you. Come to the trunk. Let me talk to you really quick."
But I mean, I would even add one more point to that. I would say, like, yeah, like, I think the concept of like, I don't know if you guys remember the Celebrity Deathmatch, that show back in the
right.
That was always fun and hilarious when they had like different celebrities matches up. So I think if they did that, obviously, like, they were saying, on the sports talk shows that like kind of being boxing in shape or knowing how to box is kind of different type of fighting. So like, obviously if these people were training, these celebrities who are kind of like former athletes who know what they were doing, trained, and then we saw like kind of cool matchups, like let's say like a middle-aged like Aaron Donald, if he was retired, versus somebody like JJ Watt in the ring, just going at it, seeing what happens. I mean, I think it could be interesting. Or like, your favorite celebrities, Kim K versus somebody, if they want to get in there and duke it out, it would be wildly entertaining. But for the older dudes, as far as in the boxing scene, except for Mike Tyson, I would want to see him fight again, just to see him actually fight some young bruh, because I think he like can handle his own. But other than that, that's really it.
Aaron Donald would kill somebody in the ring, honestly.
Oh.
Bro, if he even puts on a glove around me, I'm hauling ass.
That was Mike Tyson in the 80s. You're.
I don't care if you say I have $80 million right here in cash, untaxed money. All you gotta do is take a punch from Aaron Donald. Hey, I'm cool. I'm cool.
I guess a sharp chin at that point.
Yeah, I don't need 80 million. I don't need 80 million. So that concludes that segment for our Gatorade Awarder. Hey coach, this one was too close to call. They had a little fight in the locker room after practice. Then they got back together on the court. They made a couple good shots together, made good off-ball screens. Hey Nate, you know AJ snuck this round out, right?
Hey.
We'll take it. We'll take it into the third.
All right. So for this last round, I do want to kind of shake it up a little bit. I know there's only 2 contestants this week that actually wanted to actually test each other's brain and test their skills. So what I want to do for you guys is give you guys your own time to kind of give me a topic of anything that happened this week and convince me why this is the #1 sports headline of the week. This is what grabs everyone's attention, and this is what we need to listen to. AJ.
Hey Drake, before we start, what's the time on this? Because I'm gonna put
3 minutes.
3 minutes
Max.
3 minutes.
You don't gotta go 3 minutes.
You don't. You heard that.
Yeah. Hey, this isn't school. This isn't school where you gotta keep it.
You don't got 3 minutes. You don't got 3 minutes. Okay.
Yeah. If you don't got 2 minutes, you don't gotta do it.
Hey, yo.
But you got 3. Hey, I'm glad you asked, Coach. Hey.
I'm a 3-pump Trump.
All right. Y'all let me know. Y'all good.
Okay, so I guess what everybody needs to be talking about is the Knicks. Although we took an L this week, I think this is the most competitive Knicks team we've ever seen. I think the NBA is always better when the Knicks are better. I think you got guys trying to prove something. I think you got guys like Julius Randle out there almost averaging a triple-double or coming back from 20-point deficits. We're not 2-8 or 2-6 like the Wizards. Tom Thibodeau's out there really coaching guys up. You're seeing RJ Barrett live up to his potential. If you like Kentucky, we got all that for you. Austin Rivers is out there. So that's my thing. It's definitely the Knicks. Like, everybody needs to talk about the Knicks.
All right. Well, here's what I have to rebuttal back, or the topic of the week that I'm thinking we can bring to the forefront. Let's bring it back to the NFL, and let's sneak to about the NFL draft. I know that's coming up in about March here. More or less, we know kind of the top teams that are going to be picking. But the one thing that I'm curious to keep your eye on or looking is my guy Devonte Smith, Alabama. That guy last night put on a show. He showed out. He's the Heisman Trophy winner, the first time a wide receiver won one since I think about 91 or 96, so around in the 90s. So it's been like a couple of decades since that happened. And I think this guy is a surefire #1. Great prospect since one could argue since Calvin Johnson. He doesn't have the size as a Calvin Johnson, but he has all the other tools. He has like a Tyreek Hill with a more or less Julio Jones route running. So, I mean, this guy has all the package. And I think don't be surprised if he goes top 5 in the NFL draft. Something to keep your eye on. #2 to the Jets, Jets. could be interesting there. I think they like Sam Darnold and keeping him around. And I think Justin Fields' lackluster performance against an Alabama type defense hurt his stock a little bit. So Devonte Smith, I'm high on him. I'm high on him. So be eye out.
Okay. The Knicks. The Knickerbockers. The Smurfs in blue and orange. They disappoint me year in, year out. But I will say, this year they've so far within this first little run that we've had the couple weeks of the NBA, they've been pretty impressive of the fact that they look like they actually want to compete. They actually want to go out there and play ball, have fun, but they do want to compete and try to win games, because nobody wants to rebuild and lose, or try to go through these little spurts where you win a game, you lose 4 in a row. You win a game, you lose 6 in a row. Like that, I don't see it in these guys. I see a team that actually wants to go out there, perform. There's no fans, so there's no pressure of the Mecca getting to you. And I was like, all right, we got guys coming into our home trying to disrespect us. Let's put a stop to it. And then you got Nate. I don't see how your point is so valid. This guy was very much so a spitting image of Julio Jones. Like his route running is so sharp. I feel like he could run every route there is, and so fluid. It looks so easy. That this guy, he's one of those Chase Young type of guys where he can make an immediate impact and he can change the culture of any team he goes to. Say if he does go to the Jets or whoever he lands with, that's a great pickup. That is a great pickup. Like you said, the draft is coming up sooner than we expected to, because time flies. So that's going to be very interesting to see. Very interesting. Around then, we should see what the Knicks are doing. We should see where they're at.
We'll know if they're real or pretenders, right?
Yeah, we'll see if they're the Knicks or the Knickerbockers.
Right.
Hey, yo, there's a point to people always want to come to MSG and show out. So like now that there's no fans, everybody like, all right, so we catching those dubs now. That's what I'm saying,
Okay.
I will add this though. I will say, having watched a lot more Knicks this year, though, I will say they're a lot better. I like what to AJ's point, Tom Tibbs do. As we know, Tom Tibbs is a proven winner in all the spots he's been. Chicago, he's got that program together, got them to become a winning program. Minnesota, let's not forget, look at them now in shambles, but when he got there, he was a winner out there. And Minnesota, he came from Boston, that kind of coaching tree, I believe was under Doc Rivers and other than that regime, I believe, when he was out there. But either way, like I said, defensive guru, he's going to get those guys to play hard, like you see. And a lot of those young guys are like our age, so they can run, they can play. What I mean? They got, especially now in a pandemic era, they got nothing else to do, so they might as well play and hoop. Yeah. So hopefully they can be there at the end of the time to compete for eighth seed. So we'll see.
Okay, with that being said, Coach, we took a lot of notes down. We scouted quite a bit today. I do have to say, Nate showed out a little bit today. We could call him Logo Nate today. He had a couple deep threes. There he goes, shaking the champagne up. AJ, it was close. If you would have had a little bit more of a oomph on that last one, give Nate a little chin check. You should have did him like Nate Robinson. You should have did Nate like Nate Robinson. And then, this could have been a whole different story. But this week's champion is Nate. He has taken the house. Hey, AJ, we gotta have you back again.
Definitely.
Still repping. We gotta have you back home.
Newcomer on the show.
Definitely.
Definitely right.
Yeah.
Coach, any words?
It's almost time to get Derrick Henry the fuck up out of here, man. He's a great running back, but he can't perform. That's all I got. That's all I got, man. Pretty soon we'll call him regular season Henry.
Regular season.
King.
It's a fact, yeah.
They had 49 yards last night. Like, what the fuck?
Terrible.
Exactly.
With that being said, it is Greenhouse Tuesday today as well.
Yes,
If
sir.
you
Yes,
haven't
sir.
checked out that episode today, you're wildin'. If you haven't checked it out when you see this episode, you're still wildin'.
Wow.
So what I want you guys to do is go to the Greenhouse Po Sports. All right, the Greenhouse Po Sports. Subscribe on IG. Follow, whatever you guys want to call it.
Hey, yeah.
Just make sure you guys have the notifications on. All right. I want you guys to follow the Greenhouse Po as well. Greenhouse podcast episodes drop every Tuesday. They did have a very, very, very great episode today. I want you guys to check that out. Shout out to my guys over there. Shout out to Mir. Shout out to AJ. Shout out to Reek. Yeah, we have a lot of things in store for 2021 for you guys. So I want you guys to stay tuned, stay locked in, stay